This is what Islam teaches Muslims about non-Muslims, kuffars, Jews, Christians. Let's take a look.
Equality to all of its members. Is there such a thing in Islam? Is there equality of faith? If we look to one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the authority of Abu Huraira, Sahih Muslim. So no Sunni Muslim can really argue against Sahih Muslim or Sahih Bukhari. Rasulullah said, don't greet the Jews and the Christians before they greet you. And when you meet any of them on the roads, force them to go on the narrow side of it. And Imam Malik, he said the same thing as well. In fact, Umar ibn Khattab, who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if there was to be another Nabi after me, it would be Umar ibn Khattab in his own charter, not charter of United Nations.
So much for the religion of peace, huh? If they see a Jew or a Christian, they must not greet the Jew or the Christian until they greet them first. And then if they walk on their same sidewalk, they have to move to the narrower path or cross the street to walk on the other side so they don't contaminate the Muslim.
In his charter with the people of Sham, with those Christians of Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another. If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims.
If you think that the Nazis were the ones who started the yellow star for the Jews, you are wrong. It's actually the Muslims who forced the Jews to wear a specific symbolic yellow symbol on their piece of clothing so they know they're Jews and not Muslims. It wasn't the Nazis, it was the Muslims.
The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck and he has to have his forehead.
Wait, he said something before, just a second.
With those Christians of Sham, in his charter was Kafir and Muslim, they're not allowed to wear the same clothes as one another. If the Muslim, he comes out on the day of Eid and he sees Kafir with nice clothes, the Kafir has to take his clothes off and give it to the Muslims. The Kafir, when he walks inside the street, he has to wear a red belt around his neck and he has to have his forehead shaved and he has to wear two shoes which are different from one another. He's not allowed to, and he's not allowed to walk on the pavement. He has to walk in the middle of the road and he has to ride on a mule.
Jews and Christians were only allowed to ride on donkeys, while Muslims were only allowed to ride on horses. This, of course, was intended to force people to convert to Islam and become believers in the religion. So they worsened the condition of the non-believers, the Jews and the Christians, to make them want to convert, to make their children question, why are you riding on a donkey while a Muslim rides on a horse? Why are your clothes this and their clothes is that? Why is your head shaved while their heads are not shaved? Therefore, he would want to grow up and become a Muslim and not a kuffar.
It's only for the adults, not for the children. And you can see how Islam would make the child become a Muslim. The kafir, or the child growing up in a state of kufr, he will turn to Islam. Why? Because the child will be walking along with his dad. He said, Dad, yeah, why you got your forehead shaved? I don't know whether these Muslims, they make me do it. Why you got to walk? Why can't you ride the animal? Like the Muslims, they ride the animal like this. Why are you walking with both legs dangling on the side of the donkey? Why is it every time the Muslim comes to you, he asks you for your clothes, you give it? Why is it every time he tells you to get down from the horse, you have to take it? And not.
Oh, little son, it's because the Muslims try to force their religion on me and they try to worsen my condition and try to make me seem like my religion is invalid. Therefore, I have to shave my head. I have to wear a specific piece of clothing to represent that I'm not a Muslim. I have to greet the Muslim first before I see them. I have to change the place I walk on to a different place so I don't contaminate the Muslim. And of course, all of this is done only to make you think that Islam is better for you and not my religion. That's why, little son.
Only that. He said the kuffar, they can have their churches. They can have their churches, but they're not allowed to ring the bell. And if a Muslim, he's walking by, let's say, for example, a Muslim's been on Edgware Road, for example. He's had some nice shisha, some nice steak, no hubble bubble, we don't deal with anything like that. And he's walking along and he's rubbing.
He said, no hubble bubble, we don't deal with anything like that. Touched his nose, that's lying, by the way.
His belly and he's like, oh man, I don't want to upset my wife tonight. What he can do, he can go to the church, knock on the door. John, let me in. Okay, no problem. John has to put up Abdul Ghafoor for the night. Abdul Ghafoor with his big belly, having his nice kebab. John has to open up the church and he has to go there and sleep there nice and comfortable and say, all right, John, thank you, and then carry on going early in the morning. Which wife is going to live with John under that type of circumstances? What kind of honoring is this for me to live with John?
For the people watching this, are you understanding why so many people converted to Islam? back in the day and today. The conditions that were posed on them forced them to convert, so their conditions are better. The jizya they had to pay was ridiculously high, sometimes 20%, sometimes 30%, sometimes even 80% of specific income, which forced people to convert. By the way, at some point, because so many people converted to not pay the jizya and to be a part of the Muslim society, Muslims actually tried to discourage conversion because the economic situation of the Muslim kingdom was in jeopardy. So they discouraged people to convert to Islam.
And Abdul Ghafoor comes every Friday night and sleeps in our bed as well, of course. Because sunnah is to look after the guest, innit? I can't make you sleep on my floor if you can't. You're a Muslim, by the way. So what about when Abdul Ghafoor goes to John's house? John, sleep on the floor, and I'll sleep on the bed. What's going to happen? Tracy's going to be on the floor thinking, my husband, he's got a forehead shaved, and this one, look to this one, Khatab, mashallah. Which one's more attractive? We're not gay, but I'm just saying. A man with his forehead shaved and one belt around his neck and two different colored shoes, or Amir Khattab. Amir Khattab, we're talking about here now, with that nice Chechen hat.
Amir al-Khattab, who's forcing his religion onto others, who's creating dissonance between the two, who doesn't let the other practice their religion freely. This one, Amir al-Khattab.
Big beard, you know, a bit to the side, yeah? And he's got the badges there, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, yeah? And he's got a big gun, and he's got a big camouflage jacket on, nice boots, gloves as well. Even if he's got a couple of fingers missing, still looks attractive, yeah? What's Tracy going to do? John's in for a problem. He just let him in for a kebab, he lost his own wife as well. So everyone's going to become Muslim. That is, my dear brothers, the Islamic State.
That is, my brothers, the Islamic State. The Islamic State that forces people to submit to Muslims, to look different, to force other people to convert to Islam. That is the Muslim State. If you see this, and you've questioned the things that I said about Islam before, this one should open up your eyes. This is what being taught in the masjid. This is what people are being brainwashed with on the daily. Because the Muslims have better conditions, it means I must convert as well. There's no place for radical Islam in the West. All of us are going to be forced to convert to Islam. I don't want to convert to Islam. I don't believe in Islam. Just like I don't believe in Jesus. I believe my religion is the religion of truth. I'm not going to pose it on anyone, but let me practice my religion freely. That's the message. To the person watching this right now, are you not questioning Islam right now after watching this video? And this video should be everywhere. People should see exactly what Jews and Christians had to endure back in the day. We're still enduring it, even today.
Official Sahar TV, bringing fire to the beat. Official Sahar TV.